Good weekend, all. Ira Epstein with your weekend edition of your Stock Spider ETF video. And this is for Friday, the 7th of April, 2023. Good Friday, happy Easter, all those good things. Today, none of these markets were open behind me. The stock market was closed. However, the Fed is open. Why is the Fed open? Good Friday is not a federal holiday. So Postal Service is working. My son's a forest ranger. He was working today. I can't believe my son's a forest ranger. Amazing. I love it. That he's living his dream, so to speak. He was a broker, and he loves the outdoors, and he went for that. So I look at all this today, and I'm going, okay, so what's the event? Well, the event was this. We had the non-farm payroll. Came out at 236,000. Now, Bloomberg thought the number was 230. The Dow Jones and Wall Street Journal people thinking the market's 238. So you're in the ballpark. The unemployment rate falls to 3.5%. If you take a look at the numbers, they revised up the February number. Remember, January came in, 477, and now you got 326 and add another 236. When's the last time we saw 1 million jobs added in 3 months in that time frame? I mean, that's got to be the biggest quarter of all time. I think it is. Wow. The other thing that's good, if you're looking at average hourly earnings year over year, they keep falling. They're down to 4.2%. I think it's only a question now of when they crack the 4 number. So what do I think the Fed will do with this? I think the Fed has to go on a quarter-point hike. What could stop the Fed? Another banking incident. That would certainly get them thinking. In fact, if you're reading, today was a telling story. Somebody interviewed some of the Fed people and how close they were getting to going for the pause because they didn't know what to expect from the bank. Mr. Powell was one of those interviewed, but no. Everything got rescued by UBS and the Swiss government taking over the Swiss National Bank at the end, and the other parts of this, well, we had to take care of it, and we did a very effective window dressing. Now, that brings up borrowing at the window. It fell. I wrote this in my report yesterday, and I showed that the discount window, starting to see people not having to borrow as much. Is that the end of the issue? I don't know. What bothers me is how many bad loans are going to be coming up. You know, car loans, you keep hearing people that bought cars, I think they bought them at the wrong time, some of these used cars and so on, and they get loans on them. I don't know how they pay for them because you're starting to see people walk away. I think that you have problems in banks. I do not agree with Mr. Bullard of the St. Louis Fed. He thinks that the banks will not balk and that they're not going to step back and feel the pressure that I think they're going to feel. If I'm a banker, I'm telling you, you're going to have to be a blue ribbon client, and then you are getting that loan, all right? But what do you do with commercial grade properties, for example, that are sitting there in a B or a C building? I'm just making this up. It could be farmland. It could be who knows what it is in your local area, and it's not really doing well. Are you going to keep throwing money at that? I doubt it. I think you're going to find a nice way to tight-lip. No, I don't think we're going to do that right now. You know, what's around. Another shoe might fall in all this. We don't know what to do. That's what bothers me. I keep looking at Charles Schwab. It's not even bouncing. I look at TD, Toronto Dominion. Problems there because they're part of that. I'm not comfortable yet. You might be, and I'm sure you are. And the general public is because they're still buying, and they bought today, even on this news, the stock futures, all right, the indices. Why? We were open until 8:15 this morning in the futures. And very light trade, but the market came out. At first it dropped, and then it soared back up. Soared is not the right word, but it was a 9-point gain in the S&P. So the market did gain. And as I said, the naysayers, no matter what comes out, and I talked about this here with you last week, I said, they just look at each of these opportunities. The Fed is closer to having to do nothing, and it's all systems go at that point. And their argument, part of it is right. How bad can the economy be if these job numbers are this good? I give them kudos on that. That part they're right on. Now, one other thing I want to show you. For those of you that come in and you log in on the front page of the YouTube, and this is our home channel, if you want to join me in the morning at those morning videos where I do the recordings and all, just hit join, and that's the way you can join in now. So, okay, so something new for you there. Makes it easy. I know a lot of people all over the world watch this, and that's another way we finally put that up. Took us a while to get that all figured out. It's not easy. YouTube does not make things easy. I wish I could tell you they did, but behind the scenes, it's not quite as easy as I'd like it to be. All right, so let's take a look at the markets. And remember, you were not open in any of these markets today. Yet today, Mr. Musk comes out, and what does he do? I'm cutting prices again. And I believe he cut them across the whole spectrum this time of his cars. So I think they're anywhere from what I read, $1,000 to $5,000. So what he's really saying is I've got my production facilities up, running, and we can do more automobiles. And at the same time, he's saying, GM, Ford, all of you that are here trying to get your cars going, I'm going to make it rougher for you. I can keep my market share. Every time you sell a car, you cut into it, because remember, they didn't have electric cars to sell before. They're just getting them. But you're going to lose money on them. And I'll grab that because my car on a relative basis is blah, blah, blah. And that is still very much the case, all right? So that's part of it. AMC, it's interesting what happened there. The judges have come in, and on AMC, at one time, one judge is saying, yes, you can do this with your APE and your general common stock, and now the answer is no, you can't. It's flip-flopping back and forth. But I'll never understand which one of you out there are going to be buying. They want to float $16 billion in debt, and you're going to take that on? Okay. Who I think should take it on and buy them out. Put together Disney and Amazon. They got all these new movies. They get their place for their venue. They can roll them out in their own movie theater, owned jointly. That would be beautiful. And away you go. I mean, it's something that could happen. Schlumberger. So we had this rally, this big rally, as we all got surprised, I think you'd agree with me, by the OPEC announcement. And today, Russia comes out, by the way, and says, you're wrong. You know, we told you we do 500,000 barrel a day cut starting in March. We beat it. We did 700,000 barrels a day. Okay, but if you look at the export data and their refinery data, where it's going, it doesn't add up to that. Doesn't matter. This is what their energy ministry is saying. Okay. Schlumberger didn't buy it. It's falling back to fill a gap that was left on the daily chart, and you can see where you're at right there. The pattern in Schlumberger on a weekly basis is still bearish, and on that rally, I told you I thought it was going to fail and come back to fill a gap on the daily. So far, you're still very much in the downtrend. And in reality, all you did is rally up to the 18-week average, what I call the line in the sand. If you've taken my charting course and you looked at that, you learned that the 18-week, the 18-day, the 18-month moving average is a filter. And when the market is over it, it's saying your other work that turns bullish, it's filtered to go green. Yes, go with it. When it's bearish and you're under it, if you have sell signals, it's saying go with your sell signals. And this market, all it did is rally back to the neutral spot and fail again. Where could it go? Well, if it drops, because the trend is lower highs, lower lows, back to the 44.15 level. To negate the current trend, you got to get back up here over the 56. What is that? I think it's 56.14, right in that area. As we come to Charles Schwab, I'm bothered by this. You heard me say it there. There's no bounce. At first I said, that's the banking. They earn their money a certain way with interest rates. There's got to be more to it that it's not bouncing. And that's got to be what they have invested money in. If they have to sell it because they get calls to go into money market funds away from money they're holding. There is a difference between a money market fund and what Schwab holds for people that don't put the money into something else. I owned a brokerage firm, owned a stock firm. I know how this stuff works. And boom, that is part of the problem. So they have the same problem as others. That's the reason you're not bouncing yet. How it gets resolved, I couldn't even begin to tell you, but the trend is down, and unfortunately, it's getting more bearish as the market is latching on. Now, will the market embed? The good news is it will take a minimum of 3 weeks to embed on a weekly chart. A lot can happen in 3 weeks. So right now, very oversold, coming down. Does it take out the most recent low of $45 is the question. Then we get to KBE, still bearish. Lower highs, lower lows. So far in the banking area, what am I saying? I am not buying that it's all clear. You'd be bouncing. There's something else going on. I think that what we have is a lull, not a solution to the banking issue. In XLI, the industrial sector, if you take out this week's low, you actually go from lower highs back to lower low, momentum down, you're back in the bear trend, so I'd be careful there. With all the OPEC energy factor that exploded the actual crude, here too, all you did is go back up like in Schlumberger to the 18-week average, and you failed there. You enter a downtrend again. You've done it. But if you take out this week's low, the arrow will move there. And then until you take out 87.14, the problem is you've renewed the downtrend. Going against it is momentum, which is up. So not everything is in sync. This is important. This is the fighting zone. That's what I really think it is. In FXE, you're up to the upper Bollinger Bands. You're not embedded. I think the pro money's coming out of this market. GLD, not embedded, up to the upper Bollinger Band. Everybody is talking new all-time high in gold. I mean, everybody. I don't read a newsletter that isn't saying it. And we'll see. It's latched on to a degree. It's not the Gorilla Glue trade. Week before, you didn't hit the Bollinger Band. It's latched onto the Bollinger Band, but that's a resistance area. I'm not keen to buy there. I would tell clients in the gold miners, if you're trading off the weekly chart, this is not the spot that I'd be telling you to come in. It's the exact opposite. That's where I'd be telling you to come out. Tesla, you get under 163.91, you're overbought. That would give you swing lines down under the 18-week average. Guess what? It'd be a fresh sell signal. This market's at an important juncture where it's got to hold the 169.37 to the 176.08 area, which is the combination of the 200-week and the 18-week. AMC, as you heard me say, all right, you've got to get back over this 450 level to tell me there's something more at work here. Right now, this is still a bearish chart, but look at how narrow the Bollinger Bands got. That is where you get churned up. You get churned up as a trader because it doesn't have the power to break out to the upside or the downside most of the time. It'll churn there until it's ready to just blast one way or the other. I don't know which way it'll go. I think it's going to be a court case that decides it. In Apple, still pretty good. Both numbers over 80. Let's go to the week before if I can. There we go. It is working for me. Here it is on the week before, both over 80, both over 80 the week before. So I have an embedded reading. On a weekly chart, as long as you don't take out this week's high, I think given a reasonable break in the market, the traders are going to buy it, looking to see if they can get back to that high. If you first take out 166.84, I'm not in that camp then. Now, First Republic Bank. This keeps going with my banking thing. Do you see it bouncing there? Didn't Jimmy Dimon and all these other bankers give this a chunk of money? Does that look to you like anything good's happening? From my perspective, I'd be very careful here. This thing's not even bouncing. What's it doing here? All right, this was a stock. Please understand. Back in February, you were $139 or so, and here you are at $6 and you're not even bouncing. Is the market saying it's going to zero? That's what I'm fearful of. That's going to happen. Last TLT. Trend is up, bias is up, momentum up into overbought territory. I'd look for resistance if you keep rallying at 108, at 109.94, not 108. 109.94, that looks to me like the resistance, the upper band. So, lot to do, lot going on if you want to watch and join me on my morning videos. And I'm going to be having now my webinar. Now, let me get back to this and get this right for you so that you can see where we're at, and it will come up. There we are. On the webinar, I was going to do it this week, and I made a mistake. I talked about it last week, and it dawned on me, people going away for Passover and Easter and Good Friday. A lot of people gone. I canceled it. So this coming Thursday, I'm going ahead with the webinar. What a good time to have one. We'll be talking about all these actions that have gone on and what the Fed's going to do. You can ask me questions on SPDR, stocks, ETFs. A lot of fun. I do it at 12:30 p.m. Central Time. It's free to you. All you need to do is move up here. If you're watching me on your PC, give a click there. You'll see an icon, fill out the form. If you're on my mailing list, do it that way. But if your only access is a phone and you can't click up the top of your screen, you can always call my staff and they can send you an invite. Is that fair enough? Do it one of three ways. I'm Ira Epstein. I'll see you all Monday. Have a great Easter. Take care.